Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Bilingual channel. I'm David, and today we have another exciting topic to dive into. As always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Emily. How are you doing today, Emily?
Hi, David. I'm doing great. Hello to all our viewers and listeners as well. I'm really excited about today's topic. It's something that impacts all of us in one way or another.
Absolutely. Today we're talking about science. From the way we communicate to how we stay healthy, science is everywhere and it's constantly shaping our world. We'll be discussing different aspects of science, and along the way, we'll highlight some important words and phrases to help improve your vocabulary.
That's right, David. Science is such a vast field, covering everything from biology to physics, chemistry, and more. Today, we'll break it down into manageable pieces, and hopefully, by the end of our conversation, our listeners will not only understand science a little better but also feel more comfortable using these terms in English.
Exactly, so let's start with the basics. What do we mean when we say the word science?
Science refers to the systematic study of the natural world through observation and experiment. It's how we learn about the universe and everything in it. For example, science has helped us understand how diseases spread and how we can prevent them.
That's a great definition. Science is all about curiosity and discovery, asking questions and finding answers based on evidence. One important area of science is biology. How would you explain biology, Emily?
Biology is the branch of science that deals with living organisms. It covers everything from plants to animals and humans. You could say, biology helps us understand how living organisms grow, function, and interact with each other.
Exactly, biology is key to understanding life itself. But then we also have physics, which is another major field of science. How would you describe it?
Physics is the study of matter, energy, and the forces that interact with them. It explains everything from how objects move to how electricity works. A simple example might be, physics allows us to understand the laws of motion and gravity.
Yes, physics helps us understand the fundamental principles that govern the universe, like gravity, motion, and energy. And then there's chemistry, which is closely related to physics. Can you break down what chemistry is?
Chemistry is the study of substances and how they change. It looks at how different elements and compounds interact, bond, and break apart. For instance, chemistry helps us understand the reactions that produce energy in a battery.
That's a good way to explain it. Chemistry is essential for understanding everything from cooking to how our bodies metabolize food. Now, all of these fields are interconnected. For example, chemistry and biology overlap in areas like biochemistry, which looks at the chemical processes within living organisms.
Exactly, and that brings us to another term, experiment. In science, experiments are used to test hypotheses and gather data. It's a key part of the scientific process. You could say, scientists conduct experiments to test their theories and gather evidence.
That's a great point. Experiments allow us to test ideas and find out whether they're true. And that's really what science is all about, finding out what's true through careful observation and experimentation.
Yes, science is all about evidence-based knowledge. And when we talk about evidence, we're referring to data. Data is the information that scientists collect during their experiments. For example, the data showed that the new drug was effective in treating the disease.
Data is so important in science because it's the foundation for drawing conclusions. Without data, we wouldn't be able to prove or disprove our ideas. Speaking of which, let's talk about theories and hypotheses. What's the difference between the two?
Good question. A hypothesis is an educated guess based on limited evidence that scientists test through experiments. For instance, the scientist formulated a hypothesis to explain the unusual weather patterns. A theory, on the other hand, is a well-established explanation of something based on repeated experiments and lots of data. For example, the theory of evolution explains how species change over time.
Exactly, a hypothesis is something that's still being tested, while a theory is something that has been tested many times and is widely accepted. But in science, even theories can change if new evidence comes to light.
That's right. Science is always evolving, and that's one of the things that makes it so exciting. Now, let's talk about one of the ways science is used in our everyday lives: technology. Science and technology go hand in hand, don't they?
They do. Technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. Everything from the smartphone you use to the medicine you take is a product of science applied through technology. You could say, advances in technology have made our lives more convenient and connected.
Yes, technology is a huge part of our modern lives. It's the result of scientists applying their knowledge to solve real-world problems. And that brings us to innovation, which is closely related to both science and technology.
Innovation refers to the process of developing new ideas, products, or methods. It's how we improve and build on existing technology. For example, innovation in medical technology has led to life-saving treatments.
Innovation is what keeps science moving forward, whether it's in healthcare, communication, or energy. It's the driving force behind many of the advances we see today.
Exactly, and when we talk about advances in science, we often use the term research. Research is how scientists investigate questions and gather information. A good sentence could be, the research showed a link between diet and heart health.
Research is fundamental to the scientific process. It's how new discoveries are made and how existing knowledge is expanded. And as we've mentioned, research often leads to new innovations in technology.
Yes, and a lot of research goes into fields like medicine, which is another important area of science. Medicine applies biological and chemical knowledge to treat diseases and improve health.
Absolutely. Medicine is one of the most important applications of science, helping to save lives and improve the quality of life for people around the world. You could say, modern medicine has made it possible to treat diseases that were once fatal.
Science has transformed medicine and healthcare in so many ways. And one of the key concepts in medicine is vaccination. Vaccines are a way to prevent diseases by stimulating the body's immune system.
Yes, and vaccination has been one of the most effective ways to control and eliminate infectious diseases. A simple sentence could be, vaccination has helped to eradicate diseases like smallpox.
Vaccination is a great example of how science has a direct impact on our health and well-being. Now, let's talk about the environment for a moment. Environmental science is the study of how human activity affects the planet.
Yes, environmental science looks at issues like climate change, pollution, and conservation. For example, environmental science helps us understand how we can protect our natural resources for future generations.
It's such an important field, especially as we face global challenges like climate change. Scientists are working to find solutions to these problems, and that's why understanding science is so crucial.
That's right. Science helps us make informed decisions, whether it's about our health, the environment, or technology. It gives us the tools to solve complex problems and improve the world we live in.
Exactly, and with that in mind, I think it's time we highlight some of the key vocabulary from today's conversation. We've used several important science-related terms, and now we'll explain them for our listeners.
Yes, let's start with biology. As we mentioned earlier, biology is the study of living organisms. A simple example could be, biology helps us understand how plants and animals function.
Next, we talked about physics. Physics is the study of matter, energy, and the forces that act on them. You could say, physics explains how gravity works.
We also covered chemistry, which is the study of substances and how they interact. For example, chemistry helps us understand the reactions that happen when we cook food.
Yes, chemistry is fascinating. Then we discussed experiment, which is a scientific procedure to test a hypothesis. You might say, the scientists conducted an experiment to see if the new treatment was effective.
Finally, we talked about innovation, which refers to creating new ideas or products. A sentence could be, innovation in renewable energy technology is helping reduce pollution.
That's a great summary. We hope these explanations help you understand the vocabulary better and encourage you to use them in your conversations.
Yes, and remember, these words are also listed in the video description for you to review later.
That wraps up our discussion for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.
We love hearing from you, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and keep learning.
Goodbye.